Mr. Prime Minister, lovely
Rahul,
to be speaking with you.
Very, very good to see you.
You're speaking to India's leading news network.
I know, I'm very excited. Thank you.
And millions and millions of Indians want to hear from you, and I'm going to stand in their way, so I'm going to begin. You've described India-UK ties as a powerhouse relationship, ushering in a new spring of sorts. What makes your approach different from your predecessors?
I think this is a really important moment in this relationship. It's a historic relationship, of course, but it's now in a much, much better shape, and it's unencumbered by the past. It's about friends, partners, equals, and democracies. And what's interesting about the world today is that you're seeing some issues with autocracies, with governments that are not democratic, behaving in particular ways, which is forcing traditional partners, traditional democratic partners, to work together more. And so look at Ukraine. Now, I expect you're going to say, well, the India and the UK have a different perspective on that. Actually, I think if you look at some of the things that India has said about the atrocities in Ukraine, they've been very strong, and I think that's great. But the big picture is that you're seeing a world now in which, because of the behavior of some countries, other countries that have democratic values, that have certain view of the world, are coming together. We live in an age now where countries have to be more self-reliant. And so I support the Make in India approach that Narendra Modi, that Prime Minister Modi, has set out. I think that's that, and we're trying to do the same thing in the UK. But in a world where we want to cooperate, I think it would be sensible for us to work together so that we can be more self-reliant together. So we have trusted partners, and that's why I think the relationship that you asked Rahul about, why is the relationship now going forward to a new level? I think on green growth, I think on defense and security, and on the whole trade agenda, there's a huge amount to do together.
Well, as you said, a big point of convergence is democracy, and you invited India to the G7, reaffirming faith in the vitality of her open polity, Prime Minister. But of late, some, including MPs in Britain, have questioned the quality of India's democracy. They've sort of spoken from the pulpit, if you may. What do you make of this?
I don't think it's the job of parliamentarians say all sorts of things, and you should see what they say about me. So look, in our parliament, I don't think that it's the job of one country to preach to another. India is an incredible country. It's 1.35 billion people, the biggest democracy in the world, and nobody can say that India is not a democracy. It's an extraordinary place, and above all, it is ever more important in a world where the growth of the future is going to be in the Indo-Pacific. That's where it's all happening. That's why the UK is tilting towards the Indo-Pacific. So India's role as a guardian of democratic values in that area is even more important. And that's why we want to develop our friendship and our partnership. And as I say, there are these three big areas. What's the problem the world faces right now? It's the cost of energy, isn't it? It's the price spike in fuel. Well, the UK and India are working together to deliver green energy solutions. So I think what Narendra Modi has done, what Prime Minister Modi has done on solar energy is fantastic. We want to work together on hydrogen, on wind power. I think we're doing a memorandum of understanding today on wind power. So I have a vision of the UK and India collaborating on something like wind power, from the Celtic Sea to the Bay of Bengal, wherever the winds blow most mightily here in India. So that is part of the agenda. But then there's also the whole defence and security side, and here again, I think there's a lot more that we can do together. And that's before you even get to trade, where I would like to see a free trade deal done by Diwali.
Are there any impediments to that? Where are we with the contours of this trade deal?
Well, there are some traditional areas where India maintains tariffs, and I'm not going to belabor them.
Come on.
No. But we're seeing progress. British apples, I'm told. The bar has been lifted. I don't know why there was a bar, but the bar has been lifted on British apples. And I'm proud to say that under this government, we're taking advantage of our new freedoms to have a much more proactive policy on welcoming talent to the UK from India. I'm absolutely thrilled to say we now have 99,000 Indian students in the UK. How about that? So it was, the numbers were right down. They've soared up again, and that's great for us. And we want to do more. We want to do more on services. We want to do more on agriculture, on food. There's drink. There's a huge amount we can do together.
Well, Prime Minister, won't a new FTA necessarily cover the liberalization of the visa regime with respect to Indian and UK citizens?
Yeah, and we're short of people who we need in our economy. And I think I'm right in saying that, you know, when I was Mayor of London, I came out here and I saw how the software for our Transport for London tube trains was being done in Bangalore. We need people who can help in the IT systems. We need Indian genius in the UK. I have a very open approach to this, but there's a huge amount of work to do. All I would say to our negotiators is get a move on. We want to get it done by Diwali.
That's an interesting timeline. India has taken an independent stand, and I'm circling back to the Ukraine issue.
Yes.
On Ukraine, putting her at odds with the US and the UK. Does that bother you?
It doesn't, because I know the history, and nobody can underestimate the importance of that and the relationship that there has been. But on the other hand, as I have said, India has come out and said some strong stuff. Yes, I would make the case, and I say it again, I think Putin has blundered catastrophically in what he has done. And I think that, if anything, it is going to make Russia a kind of satrapy of China. And I think that will be a long-term issue for us all to think about. But the big picture is that in a world where autocracies can do unsettling things, you need to have ever greater collaboration, partnership, and friendship between the democracies. And so that's why it was so important that Prime Minister Modi was at the G7, and that's why this partnership and the 2030 roadmap that we have for the UK and India is so important. And we're going to make sure, I hope that as a result of my conversations today and all the work that we've done in the last few weeks and months, that this will be the beginning of a really serious body of work between our teams and the teams here in Delhi.
Well, India is a blue chip democracy, as some people, including you, enthusiastic about, but you've talked about autocracies in the world facing problems from them. Which in specific?
Well, I don't think you need to. There are two big ones, and they occupy most of the Asian Eurasian landmass, and those. Russia and China, and so I think that we need to look at the positives that we can build on together. I think there are some anxieties. I think there are a lot of risks. But there's also an opportunity for a huge amount of collaboration, and this is and that's why I think there's something new and dynamic in the partnership. And I think that when you look at what's happening here in India today, you can see a country that is being, rebuilt in a very, very exciting way, and. I think I think the Make in India agenda is a good one. We have some similar ideas in the UK, but we want to work together in a partnership.
Last two questions, and I know I'm being prompted.
Yeah, they're trying to get us to shut up. I can see they're getting increasingly antsy.
Well, last two questions.
One more, Rahul. Come on.
Yes, okay. China's territorial ambitions pose a challenge especially to India, and you're well aware of it, and you're a long way from home forming the AUKUS.
Yes.
Do you condemn the Chinese incursions and their behavior?
Look, we always condemn breaches of territorial integrity. That's why I condemn so strongly what happened in Ukraine. And I think we need to learn the lessons about how autocracies behave. I think that you mentioned AUKUS. AUKUS is an example of the way the UK wants to work together with friends and partners in the Indo-Pacific. But I stress it is not an exclusionary thing. We want to work ever more intensively with India.
Well, there's also the Quad. My last question. There's also the Quad.
You snuck that one in. Yes.
Are these alliances a durable counterfoil to China's expansionism in the Indo-Pacific, or do you see one working at the cost of the other?
No, I think they work together. And fundamentally, they're about ideas, and they're about values, and they're about what type of future do you want? Do you want an open, pluralistic future where your kids can achieve their ambitions without a state bossing and bullying them and imprisoning them without a trial? Do you want a proper functioning democracy in your country? And the answer is everywhere and always that when you have freedom and when you have democracy, in the end, over the long term, you will have greater success and greater prosperity. And that is the message that we've got to keep driving home.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.